Hey cat lovers! I have a very special guest here today, and I'm extremely excited to introduce Dr. Mikel Maria Delgado to you, who conducted a study about the connection between cat coat color and personality. Mikel is a certified applied animal behaviorist and certified cat behavior consultant who has been working with cats professionally for more than 20 years. She worked as a cat behavior specialist at the San Francisco SPCA for 8 years before co-founding Feline Minds, where she offers assistance to cat owners, animal shelters, and corporations. Mikel completed her PhD in animal behavior and cognition at UC Berkeley. She is the author of the forthcoming book, Play With Your Cat, coming out in March of 2024. And she co-authored the book Total Cat Mojo with Jackson Galaxy, who some of you might have heard of. Of course, I'm kidding. Everybody knows Jackson Galaxy, and I am a big fan. Mikel lives in Sacramento, California with her boyfriend and their 3 rescue cats, Coriander, Ruby, and Professor Scribbles. Before we start, let me just quickly remind you to sign up for my newsletter to get special deals on CatCrazyStore.com. We have a cool stuff for cats and cat lovers, so check it out. And now let's dive in. All right, so Mikel, I am so excited that you have time to be on our show here today. So thank you so much for being here. I would love to talk to you about your study. So I know that there's like lots of people always say like, oh, there's tortitude, you know, and those calico and tortoiseshell cats, they have like a special attitude. And it's true. I have two. I have a calico, I have a tortitude. So I know. But I would love to hear about your study that you conducted about, you know, the determination between like the color code and a personality trait. So tell me about this.
Sure. Yeah, I have 3 tortoiseshell tabbies myself. So, you know, I think people do have a lot of preconceived notions about what a cat will be like personality-wise based on their coat color.
Right.
And I had worked in an animal shelter for several years, and then I decided to go back to school, and that's when I started doing research. And this study that we did looking at people's perceptions of cat personality based on coat color actually came out in 2012. So it's a pretty old study now. And there's been a few newer studies, but, you know, I can discuss kind of why we need more research on this area. But I had noticed that in the shelter, people would come in and they always wanted a specific color of cat. And often it was either orange cats or the same color as the cat they just lost. So, so people did have a lot of kind of preferences related to coat color. And it was always like, why do people feel so strongly about this? And I was an undergrad, and I'd also been working with a friend of mine who was also a cat behavior consultant in Florida, Jacqueline Munera. And she and I wanted to collaborate on some research that we could do on opposite sides of the country. And so we decided to do this survey where we asked people to basically rate how well they thought different traits described cats based on their coat color. So we picked 10 common traits that are described in the literature based, you know, on like cat personality studies. And then we basically presented them with a statement like, white cats are aloof. And they had to state how much they either disagreed or agreed with that statement. And, you know, we mixed the questions up so they were in random order, but at some point they would also be asked to reply to the statement, black cats are aloof, tricolored cats are aloof. And then they would say, yes, I agree with that, or no, I disagree with that. And so it was really just a very simple survey-based study. We had, I think, 189 people who responded to it. So it wasn't a massive study, but, you know, it takes a long time to get people to participate. That was maybe before people were as active on the internet as they are now. But certainly we found that people did have these preconceived notions about what cats' personalities would be like based on coat color.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, so yeah, and it turns out to be really true. I mean, I know, and it's funny that you mentioned red cats and calico cats, because like we have a red boy, and I swear, we had 3 red boys in our long relationship, and all 3 of these red boys had the same personality traits that we loved. So we were always looking for red boys. It's so weird.
Yeah.
So do you think this only has to do, like, do you think this is specifically for red and tortoiseshells, or does it go with any color?
Yeah, so some of the results that we got would, you know, suggest some other things, like people felt like white cats were shyer than all other coat colors that we asked them about. People felt like orange cats were less aloof, more friendly. They thought that tricolored cats were less tolerant. And
Yes.
yeah, so, I think what is important to consider is that, well, one, is this based in genetics? And we don't know because we didn't actually test any cats, right? We tested people's attitudes about cats.
Right.
So we didn't actually test any cats. So of course there is a relationship between orange cats and tricolor cats in that these are both variants of a specific sex-linked gene that basically turns out orange in male cats and tricolored in female cats, or orange, but basically there's very few tortoiseshell males out there because it's a sex-linked gene. So is this just a sex difference, like because people like the orange cats and they don't have as nice feelings about the tortoiseshell cat, so maybe people have biases about the sex of the cat, which you'll also see that sometimes people have very strong feelings like, oh, I really like male cats, they're kind of dumb and loving, and female cats are like smart but not as cuddly. I feel like we have to be very careful in making statements like this because, first of all, again, we don't know if this is just someone's experience or if it's influenced by the media or what you hear from your friends, or maybe you work in a vet clinic and you happen to remember one cat who was really difficult and you decide that all cats of that color are difficult, so you have some preconceived notions that might be impacting your perceptions of those cats. So to be fair to the cats, we don't have a lot of evidence that these coat color differences are real. We do have evidence that people believe they're real, but there's very few studies that have actually looked at cat behavior, like looked at actual cats, instead of just whatever the owner happened to report on a survey that they felt about their cat. So we do need more research looking at the genetics of coat color, because there can be also, well, one, coat color is not just controlled by one gene, it's multigenic, and also personality is likely influenced by multiple genes. So it's very complicated, but there really have not been a lot of studies where people have like looked at actual cats, assessed their behavior or personality, and then also been able to link that to a specific coat color. We know that some colors of animals do have shorter lengths of stay in a shelter. So orange cats do tend to get adopted faster. So again, is this their personality or people's ideas about their personality, or just because like popular media depictions of cats like Garfield and Morris, etc., are orange cats, right? Like a lot of the popular cats in culture are orange cats used in advertising. So it's really something that deserves more research, but I'm very hesitant to say that yes, all tortoiseshell cats have tortitude and that all orange cats are friendly.
Okay, well, with the tortoiseshell, well, I disagree because, man, they have fortitude. They really do, all of them, and at least the ones that I know, and I've known a lot of them, really. But it's so funny, like, why do you think there's even a possibility that there's a connection between a personality trait and a color?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. There have been some other studies of different species that have shown relationships between different aspects of coat color and stress and behavior. So, it seems strange that would be impacted by coat color. Maybe they're both impacted by something else. But yeah, I mean, I would hate to say like that I'm not friendly because I have black hair and you're friendly because you have blonde hair.
Just wanted to say that.
So, I think, and also I would hate to see someone not adopt an animal just because of color, not give them a chance, right? So I think working in an animal shelter, I did see that some cats were easier to highlight, like a black cat in a dark room can be very hard to like see how beautiful they are, and you have to, taking photos of them requires special lighting to really make them look like the gorgeous little house panthers they are. And so and people love like some of the more exotic breeds like Siamese, right? Those cats fly out of the shelter, and it is sad when you see the tortoiseshell cat sit there for months. I just remember one guy came into the shelter and there was this one cat, she was a tortoiseshell, she was so sweet, and he was like, oh, she's ugly. And
oh, that's horrible.
Ever since then, I've had I've been like, these cats are underdogs and people need to know how beautiful they are. And do they have tortitude? I mean, I've definitely known some very easygoing, against the grain, don't fit the stereotype tortoiseshell. So I don't want to say they all have tortitude, My cats are a little sassy. I will say they're different from previous cats, but they're also related. So then it's like, how much of this is like a family trait, and they all share it. They also happen to be tortoiseshells. But so what I think is what we need more help is like helping people find the right personality match for them when they're looking for a cat at the shelter. We definitely need more research looking at why there might be differences between coat colors, as you asked. Like, why would that even make sense? It could be that certain genes propagate in a certain area. So one study actually looked at population level coat color, and they found that black cats were more tolerant of other cats, and that's a dominant gene. Yeah. So they seem to be a little more comfortable. These were outdoor cats, so it's not cats living in a home, but they seemed more comfortable with maybe a larger population density of cats around them, actually, than orange cats. So there could be some ways that colors propagate through a population based on like dominance of the gene that would maybe have an undue influence and also be related to a personality trait like friendliness or tolerance of other cats that would lead to that tendency, if that makes sense. So it could just be a coincidence that these cats happen to initially be more friendly. They were allowed to propagate and their genes were dominant, so then they kind of take over the population, and it happened to be that they're at an advantage because they were friendly. Nice. So yeah, there's just a lot of unanswered questions. So I encourage people to just treat each cat as an individual and enjoy them for the unique little creature that they are, and not get too concerned about the personality being linked to the coat color, because even if it is linked to coat color, it's probably a very small effect.
Right. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, because in my view, all cats are beautiful.
Exactly.
And any color.
I love them all.
Yes, I love cats, period.
Yes.
So, okay, so one more thing. What made you conduct this? How did you come up with this?
Yeah, I think it was from working in the animal shelter and just seeing these strong opinions that people had, and kind of hearing, terms like tortitude. That was like, is this real? So I did want to see how pervasive this was, and so yeah, it was just a good opportunity to kind of delve into people's minds and see where they were at.
Great. So now you have been working with cats like for more than 20 years.
Yeah.
And you co-founded Feline Minds. Can you tell me a little bit about Feline Minds?
Yeah, Feline Minds is a cat behavior consulting service that I started in 2008 with my business partner, Dilara Perry. She and I both worked together at the animal shelter that we worked at in San Francisco. And we decided in the shelter, we were helping a lot of people with behavior problems with their cats. We had a hotline that people could call and get free behavior advice. And we would get over 100 calls a month. So it was like very busy. Wow. Yeah. It was free. So of course, a lot of people were taking advantage of that. But we realized like people needed a little bit more in-depth help than we could provide through a free hotline. So it was really time to start offering people more one-on-one detailed advice and home visits. So that was really why we launched Feline Minds, was to work with cat owners more closely to help them solve behavior problems with their cats. So things like litter box avoidance, fighting between cats in the home. Maybe someone got a new cat and the resident cat's not happy. Yes. Maybe the cat is keeping their owner up all night, begging for food or knocking things off shelves. Maybe their cat's scratching the furniture. So it really is an opportunity to work one-on-one with clients, assess their cat's behavior, assess the environment, and provide the owner with personalized recommendations to help them solve their problems.
That's great. So you're doing this for anybody. If I have issues with my cats, I can call you.
Yes.
So what's your website?
Yeah, it's felineminds.com. So that's FELINEMINDS.com. And yeah, we have a whole book an appointment page where people can check our availability for new clients and sign up. That's really cool. Yeah.
So another really cool thing is you wrote a book with Jackson Galaxy, who I love.
Yes.
And Total Cat Mojo. So I'm pretty sure most people know about this book. Just in case there's somebody who doesn't, can you just tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah. So Total Cat Mojo was Jackson's conceptualization of like basically dumping his brain into a book so that he could really stop giving the same advice over and over again, but also just share, the knowledge that he'd gathered through his experience. And he contacted me before he started and asked if I would, help him write it. And, as he described, science-ify it. So I was the science-ifier. So I was really there to develop a lot of the content and make sure it was scientifically accurate and really help develop the idea that this was evidence-based and providing people with good, up-to-date information on behavior, how cats evolved and were domesticated, and how we live with them, and the best ways to help them live good lives with us. So it was really just like a all-encompassing guide to living with a cat.
Great, awesome, I love it. So now you have a new book coming up.
I do.
With your cat, which obviously is about playing with your cat. Tell me about that one. It's coming. When is it coming out?
So it turns out that writing a book does take a long time. The book is finished. Right now we're in the copy editing phase. So it's in the phase where they're starting to send me sample pages and stuff. It's pretty exciting. So Play with Your Cat is a guide to helping your cat have a better life through interactive play. So this is really the process of moving a toy for your cat, and you are moving the toy as if it were prey. So these are stick toys with strings and, feathers or mice on the end, and really simulating the hunting experience for your cat. So the book is kind of half a theoretical, like here's the science behind play and hunting behavior in cats. Here's information about their welfare and why play is important. And then the other half is really like a how-to, like here's how to choose toys. Here's how to move the toys. Here's when to play. Here's how long to play. So it's kind of a guide to having a better play experience with your cat, because so many of my clients would say, my cat doesn't play. And their cat would play. They just didn't know how to move the toy or how to pick the right toy for their cat and how to get their cat excited about play. So I'm really hoping to get more people playing with their cats, because it's really so important for their health and welfare. Playing is hunting behavior directed towards a toy instead of a mouse or bird, and it is a natural feline behavior. And so giving them an outlet for this natural behavior is really, I think, important for them to be like a complete cat.
Right. You have to, like, as a cat owner, you have to more think like the cat.
Yes.
Put yourself in the shoes of the cat, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Running after the stupid ball is boring.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people leave, like, the little mice and balls around the house, and they're like, oh, he's got toys everywhere. Why isn't he playing? And it's like, well, those toys are dead. They're not animated. So it's really our job to animate the toys for our cats so that they can get lost in a hunting simulation. So really trying to bring that element of their life to them indoors.
Right. Yeah. I don't think there's many cats that actually, do that, like get proactive themselves. I do have one cat, the red boy, who fetches and
Yes.
blue ball, and it has to be the blue ball, and there's nothing else but this one blue ball he brings back for hours and hours and hours.
Oh, that's so cute.
Throw it, right?
It's so fun. This is the first time I've had cats who fetch, and all three of my cats, again, they're sisters, fetch to different extents, but one of them is like kind of the best fetcher, and it's really fun. I've never had a cat who fetched before, so I'm enjoying it.
It's awesome. So what are your next plans after this book release? What's the next?
Oh yeah, so the book will come out in March of 2024 on CatCrazy, which is a Random House imprint. So hopefully it'll be in bookstores everywhere in March. And after that, I plan to continue consulting, so helping clients have better relationships with their cats. Will I write another book? I'm not sure yet. We'll see. But yeah, I love to give talks and, do podcasts and talk to people about cats. It's what my dream is to just talk about cats all day. So I try to do it as much as possible.
And do more studies about like personality traits and colors.
Yeah, so it's a little tougher now because I'm no longer working at a university. I did leave academia, and once you leave academia, it is hard to do research. Like, I think, everyone's always like, why don't we have studies about this in cats? And it takes a lot of like planning, even to do a survey of cat owners, you have to get it approved by a committee to make sure you're not going to make anybody like psychologically distressed. By asking questions that might upset them. So you have to get all of the questions you're going to ask approved ahead of time. You can't just change them after, and you often have to detail all of the methods, how you're going to recruit people for your study. And then if you have animals in your study, it's a separate committee that has to approve that research and make sure your research fits all the welfare guidelines for science. And of course, all of my research that I did with actual cats was humane. It was with cats in their home, so we weren't doing anything that would stress the cats out. But you do have to get all of that stuff approved months ahead of time, and then you have to promote your study and recruit people and collect the data, analyze the data, write up the paper. So the process of doing research does take a lot of time.
Wow.
which is why we don't have more of it. It's just a very complicated process, but hopefully someone will start doing some studies of cats and their coat colors and personality, and maybe their genetics too.
Right. Awesome. I love that. Okay. Well, Michael, thank you so much for your time today. This was fascinating. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm pretty sure that my viewers will totally enjoy this. So thanks again for your time, and I can't wait to follow you and see what's going to be next.
Thanks so much, Petra.
Okay. So have a wonderful day. Bye bye.
Bye.
That's all for today, my wonderful cat crazy crowd. Thanks for hanging out with my cats and me today. Please subscribe, hit like and comment and share. And if you want to help out our channel, then become a member of Patreon or pick up some amazing cat crazy merchandise like these shoes here on my website. Until next time, stay cat crazy and don't forget, cats rule and so do you.